Hello. Hey, everyone. Can you hear me all right? Hey, Ella. How are you?
Hi,
Good to
Chris.
see
I'm
you.
good. How are you?
Good, good,
I'm
everyone. Hey,
good.
big day for us. We have been up, I was up at till 2:30 last night. The last couple of days, it's been like insane because we have been going to bed, like we've been rushing to get this thing finished, and there's been so much work to do. And so we're just so happy to see all of you guys here. And last night, I'm running on pure adrenaline. Like we were finishing things like up to the last second. And we were joking because we were saying, like, there's going to be something. I'm going to push the wrong button, and something's going to screw up during the presentation. So just telling you guys ahead of time. But it's good to see all of you, and thank you guys for joining us tonight. And I know we have a bunch of new friends here that are joining us tonight. Thought it'd be good to start with some introductions. My name's Chris Majias. I'm the creator of Flux Destiny and the head of Hero Helix, and I've got Ella Powell here, or I should signal this way. Ella Powell this way. I got Ella Powell here, who's the head of our RPG and our community. Hello, Ella, as
And
if
I'm
we haven't seen each
very
other.
I'm very blurry. Oh, now I'm good. Okay,
There
there
you
we
are.
go. We're getting there. Things are
Awesome.
working out.
So, just a little bit about me. I have spent the last 20 years in the entertainment industry. If anyone here is an anime fan, I spent many years as a top executive at Funimation, where I was the head of original anime at Funimation, where I produced all their original anime, their live action movies, their music albums. I oversaw all that. So I've got quite a long resume of producing, live action and anime and animated movies. And I've got a real love for storytelling, and this is something that have been working on for so long. Applying my storytelling skills to something my own universe. So, Ella, you want to talk about yourself? Tell everyone about you.
Yeah, so my name's Ella, and I am the RPG writer here. And so, what I've been doing is for the last couple of years, I've actually been in the animation industry doing children's animation and producing that and writing and helping out with that. And so then I got into RPG writing for the animation series that I was working on. And then one thing sort of led to another, and I've been a theater kid my whole life. And so I started doing RPGs and started acting them out, and then I just thought, I can write better than this. And so I started writing my own. And then, Chris and I got together and we started making this RPG. And, that was a couple of months ago. And here we are.
Okay, I just heard there was a bit of an echo, so I'm trying to mute mine whenever you talk. So if you guys see me do this weird pose, it's me like
Stretching,
muting.
yeah.
I don't know why she's echoing. Maybe when you're not talking, Ella, if you want to mute, just so that to
Yes.
save me from having to do this weird pose. But we're so used to doing these these things live that there's always something that's going to happen. Anyway, so it's great to see you guys. Is the echo better or is it still bad? Can you guys? Is it still? Is that better? Let me know in the. Okay, that's better. Okay, good. All right. So today is a huge day for Flux Destiny. If you're a new Flux Destiny fan, we've got first a whole bunch of folks here who've been fans and supporters for many years, and it's great to see all you guys. And I appreciate all the love and support for the universe and for Marco and Hugo and our whole crew here. A little story. I have been writing this universe for a while, and one of my intentions of building Flux Destiny was that I wanted to create this really expansive universe that had this really deep lore that people could go and really exercise their creative wings in, like spread your wings and go make OCs, go make stories. And the problem is that there's so many toxic fandoms out there now. There are reboots galore. Everything has been rebooted to death. That I was like, there's a place for something new. And so that's where Flux Destiny came in. I wanted to create something where we had this really amazing community, that we had this really awesome foundation for the universe. And then we also had an RPG that we could build on top of it that could expand our storytelling capabilities by letting our fans come in and, build their own OCs and build their own stories. And it was also inspired by the fact that our community has been so tight knit, and we're so fortunate with our Discord community, which I want to invite all of you to, because we've had so many people become friends. And I even know people who've gotten married because of Flux Destiny. They've met through here, or they've become roommates. And so we've just got this really cool community, and this is the first step of growing that through our RPG. So today, we're going to be unveiling Flux Fantasy, which is our own tabletop RPG that we built from the ground up. Okay, from the ground up, this thing was built. Like, I'm talking, and this is where Ella and I really brought our talents together. I had spent years, literally years, building the core foundation of this universe. And anyone who has seen behind the curtain here has seen how much material that we've done. It's been thoroughly built. The idea was, how do we take that and create an RPG that's fun and does a couple of things? Because from my own experience in playing RPGs, I was always really intimidated, because it's like flying the space shuttle. It's like all these numbers and all these things you have to do. And it's like, it was too much for me. And so I got into the RPG game late, at least tabletops. I used to play them on video games. So I wanted to create something that you didn't have to be a rocket scientist to be able to do, but that wasn't elementary, and that you could get together your friends and introduce your friends to RPGs. And we've discovered in this process that there are many people who are already saying this is their first RPG. And we're super excited about that. And that's kind of a badge of honor for us. So if you're new to the Flux Destiny universe, I wanted to just kind of give you a little rundown of what Flux Destiny is about. And I'm going to go over our magic system so you can understand the basis of our unique magic system that's called Karmistry. So in Flux Destiny, the power of Karmistry lets you defy reality. It turns the impossible, because of Karmistry allows you to turn the impossible into the possible. Those who master the art of Karmistry are superstars called escape artists. And they earn this fame by expertly balancing the thrill of their powers with the risk of payback. The universe's very literal and very real and very dangerous reaction against those who are daring to disrupt the cosmic order. And we're going to look at what payback is in a minute. Flux Destiny unfolds in an alternate universe Earth in the 1990s, primarily in a country called Fortuna that is very much like the United States of this world. And as you discover being part of our community, the Flux Destiny world is fully expansive. There's so many different countries, but the mainline series takes place in Fortuna. Fortuna has been radically transformed by the magic of Karmistry, and here everyday life blends with the extraordinary, turning Fortuna into this theme park-like world where these incredible man-made realms called Flux Destinies interweave with the reality, all thanks to the talents of these escape artists. So that's kind of the elevator pitch there for you of Flux Destiny. And I am going to share with you now, and hopefully this works when I push this button and something weird doesn't happen and I blow up I start putting my YouTube up here or something. But I'm going to share with you now the Karmistry system so you can get an idea of how Karmistry works, because it's the foundation of our RPG. Because when you have these very superhuman powers in our universe, there is a risk, a cost, and that's payback. And Ella, cross your fingers. I'm going to push a button and hopefully this works. And I think Ella and I will be in a little corner. So let's see if this works. Okay, I'm going to push a button and let's see if this works. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's promising. Okay. All right, can you guys still see? All right, here we go. Okay, so if you're not familiar with our series, this is Marco and Hugo, our main characters. And this beginner's guide to Karmistry is actually available on fluxdestiny.com. So you can actually go check that out and follow yourself. But, Karmistry is our unique magic system that allows people to bend reality and perform feats beyond imagination. and it takes place in Fortuna, which is the kind of the modern birthplace of Karmistry. Now, payback that I was talking about earlier, payback is when you push Karmistry too far, you'll trigger payback. And this is the universe's immune response to what you're doing. And it can go anywhere from minor mishaps and, you know, malfunctions to summoning these dangerous entities called payback phantoms that we'll go into in a bit. That's where it brings us to escape artists. They're named escape artists for two reasons. One, they, you know, have the capability, they're skilled practitioners of Karmistry. They're capable of using Karmistry to bend reality. And it's really turned them into celebrities in a world where pushing what's possible, what's impossible is a spectator sport. And they're called escape artists because of their ability to escape payback, to escape their consequences. And so the really best ones can do that and perform Karmistry in the process. And they do so using a torus, which is the golden ring that you see on the character's chest in the middle. If you guys have seen Hugo, our main character, he wears a torus on his chest that he uses to perform Karmistry. And Karmistry is performed in a really simple way. You siphon karma from the environment, and depending on what kind of escape artist you are, and we'll go over that in a bit, you can, you know, you siphon karma, and then you use karma to bend reality, to do what you want to do. For example, Marco, one of the two main protagonists from our series, his power is the ability to bring drawings to life. He can draw things out with paint, and he can animate them and bring things to life. And of course, it's all subject to payback. There's 5 forms of Karmistry. There's creative Karmistry, clockwork Karmistry, which has to do with like the fundamentals of the universe, like being able to manipulate physics and space-time. We have biokarmistry, which is you know, the ability to interact with plants, animals, elemental control, weather. It's a pretty expansive subclass. We've got machine Karmistry, which is a very special form of Karmistry that the type of payback that you get from machine Karmistry actually doesn't come onto you, the escape artist, but rather your creations. So, you know, technomancy, the creation of robots and other machines that are powered by Karmistry is available through this type. And then finally, there's quantum Karmistry. And we got a lot of fans who like quantum Karmistry for a number of reasons, but this is where you push the boundaries of what's possible with Karmistry. You know, a lot of times it's experimenting with things like telekinesis and telepathy and other types of, you know, esoteric things, but it's also about pushing the boundaries and experimenting with new ways that you can apply Karmistry. Here's the payback scale. So the payback scale is when you perform Karmistry, there's a level, the levels of which karma payback comes after you. And it goes anywhere from the payback undertow, which is, you know, hey, if you create a paper airplane with Karmistry, that's nothing, you know, the undertow will wipe it away. But the more complicated you get with your Karmistry, the more severe the payback that's going to come after you is. And so that's what the payback scale is. And payback comes in many forms. You know, it can come in the form of malfunctions or payback phantoms, which are those, you know, monsters, which can, you know, range from anything like these cute little blobbies up until these giant titans. And also environmental payback is something you can also suffer from. So that's a quick little overview of Karmistry for you. Ella, I hope that worked out because I couldn't see anything behind the scenes. Okay. I had to trust that was working. Okay. So that's an overview of Karmistry itself and how it works. And the reason why, for all our new friends who've joined us here, I wanted you to see that is that it's the foundation of the magic system in the universe and the narrative, and also within our RPG. The payback scale affects all classes of player characters in this universe. And a lot of that I give. I got to point this way. Sorry, point this way. I got to give a lot of credit to Ella, because when she came on and we started developing, I said, "Listen, how do I need you to help me take this and create a system from it." And we built it from scratch in a way that's really fun and really easy to learn and get into. Okay, so next, with that out of the way, now we're going to start going into discussing how that affects your characters and the creation of your characters. And Ella, I don't know if your echo is still affecting you. I'm going to mute mine and let you talk for a second and let you talk about that. Let's see if there's an echo.
Tentatively saying hello to everybody. Hi, I'm so sorry if there's an echo. We're trying our best. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the other specialties, right? That's what you'd want me to go into. Um, so some of the other specialties. So the escape artists are people who use karmistry, with their Tauruses. But we've actually got other specialties within the game who use karmistry in a little bit of a different way. So one of the ways that we do that is with the clockbots, and the clockbots are actually very similar to the escape artists because they have an internal Taurus, but they're a little bit different because they are sort of these machines, and so they're part machine, uh, part person, part computer, and which they have their internal Taurus, and they can perform karmistry, in certain ways, and they, are mostly used to help escape artists, but they more advanced ones have minds of their own and can create and understand situations and learn about their environment. So that's another way that our one of our groups of people. So we've got escape artists and clockbots, and then another group of people we have are our special agents, which they are solely using the tech of the universe. So as Flux Destiny has evolved over time, the people of this world have learned how to make technology, with these Tauruses, with these golden rings that can use karmistry. And so what they do is they've put them into all of this tech, and now they can use this tech going forward. And we kind of consider the special agents like super spies of this world because they're really cool. They use like exoskeletons and disguises, where they can put a mask on and go all Mission Impossible and like sneak into places. And they use Taurus powered weapons like disruptors or nets or grappling hooks or big shields that can protect big town blocks and that kind of stuff. So they're kind of like you know they're really like the spies, and they go and they hunt down people who are misusing their karmistry and overusing it and causing harm to people. And then the last group that we have is sort of our most unique group in the way that they use karmistry, but they use it a little bit differently. And so what it is they're called the Ink Fighters, and it's a long, complicated process. But at the end of the day, basically, they get karmistry tattoos, which we call sigils. And what they do is they go in and using their own karma, they sort of make these like little bursts of energy on their skin that they can use to make blades or augment their body to make it super strong or to run super fast or to turn into animals or to summon animals or to use elemental stuff. So they're kind of like escape artists, but in a different way because their sigils are more short lived. And so and those are the four different groups that are available to play right now. And what's so interesting is that when I first joined, it was really all about the escape artists. They were sort of like their name is, they were taking up the whole show, oh, it's all about the escape artists. And so when I came into it, there was all these other groups that were sort of just in the background. And we really found a way to make those groups stand out. And so each of the four groups has different studies underneath them. So they're separate. They're sort of like, if you've played an RPG before, they're sort of like your classes or, your races in which you have different groups of people. And so in ours, we have sort of these different specialties, which is the way that they use karma. And then inside of those, there's different ways you could do it. It's broken down into animal or body or creative. And so as you go through the book, you start to get into deeper and deeper lore, as you go through and start to find the things that make you unique. You might start off an ink fighter, just like everybody else. But then once you get down to the nitty gritty and get to the end of your character sheet, you're totally different than any other ink fighter that would ever come through because of the choices that you've made. Because, oh, I actually want to do this study and I want to learn this skill and this skill. And so, yeah, that's the different specialties that we have.
We're switching off to make sure that there's no echo. So I'm going to show you guys a presentation now to kind of walk through some of these things with you and show you what how some of this works. And again, I got to give Ella kudos because part of it was how do we take in our universe, because escape artists are very powerful characters, how do we create a system where everyone can you can play different things. You can be an ink fighter, which ink fighters and escape artists don't like each other. There's like a rivalry between the two. They do not respect each other at all. Or clockbots or special agents, which is special agents are like the law enforcement of this world. They're part of like the National Karmistry Authority, which is like our FBI, right? And they're the ones who investigate, karmic crimes and people who abuse karmistry. So you can play all sorts of these characters and create, if you did a party where you had a escape artist and a special agent, that's kind of like and an ink fighter. Talk about like a bunch of tension, right? Because these characters are like diametrically opposed to each other, and so having these different types together is a lot of fun for this. Finally, before I switch over to the presentation, I'm going to say we've spent a lot of time creating rules for this universe that are meant to be broken. And what I mean by that is there's even when we get to the core rulebook in just a bit, there's a whole section in the core rulebook about the national karmistry laws, and we have them broken down by like title. And so, like, I got super, it's funny because I did a YouTube video like a month ago, and I was talking about it in the YouTube video, and it was so dorky and so ridiculous. Like, it was so over the top that I went to the point of like subsection 5 of the karmistry code is this, that like I couldn't take my, like I started laughing. I couldn't do it. And Ella put all these like outtakes at the end of the video, which was really fun for it. But the reason I say that is that we want your characters to try to skirt these laws, right? We put those hurdles there, these kind of like, porcelain vases all over the place so that you'll accidentally trip them, because that creates great story, right? No one wants to, when you're going to do something like this, you want to watch a story that has tension and drama. And we've designed all this so that you would have lots of tension, lots of drama that would arise from playing our RPG. So now I'm going to share with you the presentation. We'll go over, about the RPG, and then we'll go from there. All right. I'm about to push a button again, so I'm hoping this works. Let's see. Okay. Hold on. I don't know if that's the one I wanted. Sorry, guys. One sec. Okay. Can you guys, you can see it, right? Ella, can you just nod your head if you can see it? Hold on. I see it on mine, so you guys have to be able to see it. You get it? Okay, good. All right. Okay, so Flux Fantasy. Oh, and our faces are there. Yeah, there's our faces. You guys can see us still. Okay, good. Okay. There we go. Okay. So Ella, do you want to go over the character creator sheet? Actually, before you do, let me say really quick. Let me emphasize that one of the big things about creating this universe and this RPG especially was that we wanted it to be something you could really just jump into. I know I was saying earlier that like it shouldn't be a hurdle. It should be something fun. It shouldn't be something that you're like, oh my gosh, like so many things I got to memorize, and do. No, this is supposed to be really easy that you can get right into it, and it's narrative focused. Ella, do you want to talk about the character creator?
Yes, I will. So I'm kind of gonna be looking over at this other screen, so forgive me if I'm kind of like looking off. But we've got this really great character creator here, and this will be something that we're actually sending out. We've just got a new version of it, so if you are signed up for Flux Fantasy, we'll be sending out a new version of this, but it's also in the new beta book. So if you purchase the beta book, it will be in there as well. The full sheet, it will be blank for you to print out and do whatever you want. We've had some changes in it, just some minor ones. But we've also, added the skill tree onto the back and all that kind of stuff. So this is just the front. I'm going to go over it real quick. But we've got some kind of interesting pieces. Some are probably familiar to you if you've played RPGs before, and then some might be a little bit more like unique or interesting to our system. So we've got our identity, which is like anything that is like sort of the way that you look, and also your association and your specialty and that sort of stuff. And that's sort of like your age and what gender you want to be and your height, and that sort of goes with what your portrait is. And then we've got your talent gear, which your talent gear is sort of like your stats. And there's hopefully not a whole lot of math, that you have to do in the game. But one thing we really want you to be able to do is we want you to be able to live your character however you want. So if you want to be more talented in a certain area, so the different talents are aura, technique, stamina, function, willpower, and agility. So aura is like your charisma, technique is sort of like your intelligence, stamina is like your strength and endurance, function is sort of like your perception and your like overall health, willpower is your ability to use karmistry, and then your agility is like jumping, running, that sort of stuff. And by the way, if there's anything here that is confusing to you or you don't understand, it's all in the guidebook and it's really well laid out. First of all, I'm just going over it really quickly, but also we are in the Discord at fluxfandom.com, and me or one of the lore leaders can help you through this or to figure out where you need to put certain stats. So I'm just going over this really quickly to spark some interest in our game if you're new, or if you've seen this already, maybe just show off some new things that we've got on here. So the next part is your Gear of Destiny. I think Chris is about to speak. No?
Oh, yeah, no problem. I thought you wanted me to switch the page, and no, it's okay. Keep going.
Okay, so the next thing we have is the Gear of Destiny, which if you know a lot about Flux Fantasy, you know that there's the Great Machine that sort of runs the universe, and your gear is basically like your stamp on the world. You get to draw it however you want to draw it. It's just sort of like your banner, something that makes your character your character. And then we've got your powers, which are a really unique element in our world because you get to create them. You get to basically be infinite in how you decide what you want your powers to be. And there's rules about the damage and the range and that kind of stuff, but there is a lot of flexibility in how you name your powers and what you kind of want them to look like. And then one of our most unique points is our karma pool and our payback system, which is they're sort of one for one, like Chris was talking about. As you use your abilities, there's also payback that rises with it at the same time. So as you're using your cool, awesome, powerful, wonderful, amazing abilities, there's also that looming threat that if you do something wrong or you take the wrong step, you could be going up against literally like a manifestation of like darkness, right? Or danger that comes back to sort of haunt you. So if I do this really cool elemental power and I shoot a fireball at you, and then I look over and there's a little fire, monster coming to get me, that's my payback because I've overexerted, I've gone beyond my limits and I'm sort of like now opposed with the universe. So that's sort of the front part of our talent sheet. And I don't have the back here on this presentation, but the back has sort of like your background and your traits and flaws, which is central to your character. But then also the skill sheet is there, so it's I didn't want to spoil it, but it's finally there. We're gonna have sort of check boxes for it so that you can now level up properly.
Yeah, that's what's really cool about this is that the skill tree, which we're going to expand dramatically in the final version. When I say final version, is the version 1. So today is the public beta release of the whole rule book, and it's pretty. It's nearly 300 pages, so it's like chock full of everything. And all this is in there, and all this explanation is in there. And I should also mention that another benefit of being part of our Discord community, if you go to fluxfandom.com, which I'll put the little thing at the bottom, you can see there's the link. My buttons are working here. Um, the Flux, if you go to fluxfandom.com, our lore leaders are there, and Ella and our awesome team of lore leaders like can help you build your characters, can help set up, parties and game nights. We have all sorts of stuff that that happens in the Discord community that is a big benefit, because one of the big things we want to build it's not, we don't want an RPG that is like, here's an RPG, go do it. No, we wanted to give you the framework, and then we wanted to give you the support to be able to do it. And we wanted to create a community so that you could make friends and have all these adventures with it. Here's the different types that we were talking about earlier. Some of the amazing art. So the art in the rule book is done by our. Now, if you've met me before through Flux Fantasy, I'm the main artist of Flux Destiny. I do all the main art. The artist that we have in our little studio here, Nix, who does the art specifically for the RPG, and he's done these amazing renditions. The final version of the book, when we release it at the beginning of the new year, will all be in color, and all the characters will be rendered out and everything. And it'll be a full book with an awesome cover, and we're pretty proud of that. But these are the different types that we were talking about earlier. The escape artists, the clock bots, ink fighters, and the special agents. Ella, you already went over the talents just now, didn't you? With it, or do you want to expand any more? So we've got the different talents. She's already. Why don't you give them a little more on it, since we already got it? If there's any flavor you want to add to it, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, of course. So as you can see here, this is again all in the beta book. So this is just sort of the very tip of the iceberg. Again, the book is over 300 pages. Well, I guess it's 200 something pages, but it's very long. It's almost 300 pages. And so this is all really clearly explained in the book, but these are really important because this is sort of like your basic actions within the game where, if you wanted to do something, say, oh, I want to jump over that ledge or something, this is where the center of your character is. And so these are not just like stats that you just throw up. Oh, I was born in the woods, so I guess I'll be good at nature. No. It's nothing like that. It's like, I want my character to be really intelligent. Okay, well then you're going to put more of your effort into technique. And there's abilities in our skill tree as well, which when you level up, you get to level up your health and your talent and your defense and your persuasion and all sorts of things. So if you wanted to be a really smart character, then you would focus your energy towards technique. Or if you wanted to be a really charming character, you would do that towards aura. Or if you just wanted to be strong, then you would focus your talents in a certain way. And as you go, you can start to sort of build out your different abilities, and your character will start to take shape, just sort of like we do in real life. Like, I'm not the strongest person in the world. Like, okay, maybe one day I'll start focusing on that. But for now, I really want to get my mind going, right? And so that's where I've focused my abilities. And so that's sort of what we've tried to do is, yes, Flux Destiny is a really fun and fantastical game that does not take place in this world, but it also has really heavy elements of reality in which there's consequences. I can't be super strong and super smart and super brave and super, fast all at the same time, right? There's a give and take. I have to focus on one thing or another. And that's sort of where we get into like our traits and flaws, which is on the next slide, and our skill tree. Because when we start to go into that sort of stuff, we delve into character traits, right? We delve into all of this stuff. And what
Can
we
I
start
can
to
I
do,
interrupt really quick? This is the part I'm going to start geeking out a little bit about this part. I have to say that the traits and flaws system in the RPG is so much fun. It was something that Ella introduced into the mechanics as part of balancing, because part of this is all about a give and take that we want to do. Is that you can't. When I was designing the universe for, let me see if I can do this really quick. So you're not looking. So you're seeing my face. Okay, I'll switch back in a second. I'm getting good at this. I think I can switch back and forth seamlessly. When we were designing Flux Destiny as a universe and as an RPG, one of the challenges of creating a really good magic system is, how do you do it where characters are not overpowered, right? And where there is where it's possible to have these great powers, but there is a risk involved or a cost involved. And that's where the payback system came in. And that's all reflected everywhere within the RPG as well. If you're going to be a character who is like, you know, super Chad, you know, character, you like, there's going to be like flaw. You're going to have to choose certain traits and flaws that come with it. There's a balancing act that goes with it. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Ella, but I love this part so much that I felt like I had to say something. So I'm going to go back to the presentation now because I've gotten so good at this, and hopefully it'll run when I push it. Okay, there we go. Go for it.
Yeah, no, Chris, please interrupt me at any time. I mean, Chris has done so much for this. Obviously, he's the creator, and so everything that I've done in the RPG, like mechanics wise, is just off of this amazing vision. So I wanted to bounce it back to Chris and say that he's done such an amazing job with this. And like he said, there's like real themes, you know, in this world, and our traits and flaw system is one of those in which you get one automatically. You don't get to not have a flaw. You have to have one, you know, because it comes with your affiliation. And so that's one of the things that you have to have as you're building out your character. But you get to also pick other ones. Like, I want to, you know, have a dependable trait, but that means that you have to pick a flaw. And you can pick any of the flaws, you know. And the point is, though, is that we want it to enhance your character because it's something that your character, you know, sort of needs to have. Maybe you want your character to be tongue tied, you know. And so each of these traits and flaws will come with helps and bonuses if it's a trait, and sort of hindrances if it's a flaw. And so and it really does round out your character, because with each trait that you get, you also have to get a flaw. And it's just something that we wanted to add in the game because we didn't want people to feel like, oh, well, now I'm just the best at everything. You know, there's never going to be a moment in Flux Fantasy where you've leveled up completely. Like, there's probably no way, even if you play, you know, 30 to 40 hours of the game, that you'll ever get all of the skill tree upgrades. It's just not going to happen, right? And that's on purpose, because the whole point of the game is that you have to sacrifice one thing for another. And that's the whole karma thing. That's why it's called karmistry. You know, what goes around comes around. And so if you get something really cool, well, something pretty bad is probably going to happen too, because, you know, that's the way that this universe works. It's really punch for punch. It's just, you know, and that happens in our reality too, but in this reality it's much more actually physical. You know, like, if you punch somebody, then the universe is going to punch you back. That's like the reality of it. And so when we've made this game, we've made it so that when you're creating a character, the character creation part is actually one of the most important parts, and then everything else is actually really easy. You know, it's like, okay, so I've made my character and I've learned the bits and pieces and I'm ready to go. And that's it. There's not like, okay, and then if you do this, you have to learn how to do this mechanic. So,
I want to say really quick that I love that because um, the the consequence piece is so important to this whole thing that I can't say it enough how important it is to what we built, because the idea is also that we want you to have long campaigns. These are not meant to be like, you can do short ones. There's always, and the cool thing is that we even provide you stories, which super cool bonus for this first release. There is a free game within the core rulebook. At the end, it's a tutorial game, and we actually have game nights that we'll be talking about in a bit that we schedule. We put all that together for you. You can come in and play, learn the tutorial game, and we have all sorts of new stories that are insanely, like, they're written, you just follow the script. It tells you exactly how to play it. It's really easy for GMs. You don't have to do lots of preparation. If you want to, you can. If you want to create your own story, you can totally go for it. But we have all sorts of pre-made stories for you as well. Okay, so back to this. Back to you, Ella.
okay, so I think we are on the skill tree now, right? That's what we're on. So the skill tree, sort of just to round this out, this is sort of the last big piece of the character creator. And I just want to say, I know this sounds like a lot right up front, but the thing is that the character creator is actually made to be really simple. You just pick what you want to be your specialty, like escape artist, and then you pick your study like creative escape artist, and then everything else is written for you. You just find your section. So okay, then I go to the next page and it's the traits and flaws or my affiliation, and I just find where the creative escape artist section is. So we've tried to make it really clear, and available to you to be as creative as possible. So the skill tree is one of those places that you can be really creative, in which everybody will kind of go through their skill tree a little bit differently. And this is sort of the simplified checklist version of it. And so what it is it's like, you go through it, and as you do it, you sort of just check them off. But the skill tree is actually much bigger. You have to kind of maneuver through it. Like the health one, you have to get that one before health two, and so on and so forth. And so you guys will see all of this as we move forward. But I just wanted to kind of go over this character sheet, and that's it. And let's move on to some of the more exciting parts of the game, like the maps and other stuff. Chris, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so here's a quick map of this is Fortuna. So I spent 6 months building out this map when we were building the Flux Destiny universe, and this is the map that we released last week. That's the canon map, and this is one of the things that comes with the core rulebook when you get it, and it helps you chart your path throughout Fortuna. And Fortuna has so many different cities that all have different personalities and adventures that can happen with them. And actually, we've worked incredibly hard. As I'm writing the novels right now that take place in this universe, you can cross paths with the mainline characters right through these stories. So it's something that when I was producing the Mass Effect anime, for example, it's a canon story of that universe. And the characters from Mass Effect, James Vega actually shows up in Mass Effect 3, and he references his story from the anime. And I've always had a passion for doing that, of making like these worlds really immersive, where you know that, hey, this is where Hugo and Marco were in their story, right? So this is Fortuna. This is and we have an official map maker on staff with us, Ellie, who I did a interview with the other day that you guys got to check out. It's super, and she did all the battle maps in here as well. So there's a bunch of battle maps in the core rule book as well that have to do with the tutorial game that you get for free in there. So here's some of them. You can see some of our battle maps. This particular game, the tutorial game Ella wrote, it's everything. It's like kind of like it's action. It's like wholesome. It's fun. It's like snarky. It's everything. And that's how my particular style of writing, for anyone who has read Fortuna's Rings, which was the last Flux Destiny novel, a lot of people commented on how I was able to kind of take them through this journey of like, you laugh a minute, then you cry the next minute, and then you're going through this battle the next minute. So Ella really brought that into the tutorial game. It takes place in this giant arena in Andromeda, which is the capital of Fortuna. So this is one of the battle maps that comes in here with it. Ella, do you want to go over the easy to learn part?
Yes, I do, if I can find the buttons. So, I have a lot of experience in writing some more hardcore RPGs, and so what we really wanted to do is we really wanted to create a world in which not only was it easy for the players, but it was easy for the GMs to get into it. And so the way that we've written the stories is very scripted in a way that you can obviously change what you want to change or move things around that you want to move around, but there's enough there that you could just kind of use that as a good framework and not have to be like, oh, I have to prep for 5 hours to play this game. You can maybe look over it in like 20 minutes and then you can jump right into it because they're more written out for you, in that sort of sense. We still want you to be creative. I mean, that's the whole point of the game, but the framework is there. And that's the same with the players as well, is that a lot of the heavy lifting is off of you, because it's put onto the stories. And so it is an easy to learn system. It's just a D20, and we basically do everything in the game with that. There's not like, okay, now I've got to pull out my D7, and now, oh wait, I have to roll 2 D7s, and no, I have to, and everybody's like, what does that even mean, and so you're like sitting there fumbling with dice and math. It's a really easy system in which you mostly use a D20. Every once in a while you'll use a D4 or a D10, which all of these just mean a sided dice. So if I say a D20, that just means a 20-sided dice. So it's super easy. The combat mechanics are really smooth. They're really easy because they're written out for you really well. You can attack and you can do combos and you have a signature move, but it's not like, okay, now I have 30 spells to remember. It's like, okay, I've got 6 things I can do, and if I want to learn more, then I can learn more, and I can switch them in and out, and then that's it, right? So there's things like that we've tried to keep the fun and the creativity in it, but we've reduced the amount of stress that it takes when we do something like all of this math and all of this stuff. We wanted it to be heavily narrative based, so hopefully there's not a lot of fumbling around for certain things or looking for mechanics. Like, the book is really big, but because there's deeper layers to it. If you are somebody who's like, I just want a pre-made character sheet and you tell me what to do, that's available. But if you're somebody who's like, I toil over lore and I want the deepest amount, that's there too. And so it's really customizable, in which the base is there, but you can really dig in and expand and make it unique. The character creation is really quick. I can make a character now. To be fair, I made the game. I can make a character in probably 10 minutes, and I know that you can too, because it's actually, once you do it once, you can do it 100 times, right? You're going to be able to get in and figure it out. It's actually much simpler than you think. It might be a little tricky at first, but once you start to get into it and understand it, you can do it in a flash. It's super easy. The GM system is wonderful. It's written out really clearly. It's basically like a customizable game, right? Where you go in and the framework is there, but it is up to you to decide certain characteristics of it. Whether you want this interaction to happen or not is up to the GM, but at least it's there. It's there for you to take in and out. So that way you can sort of write your own expanded world around it without having to worry about, uh, I just say, oh, here's a character. Now the character has depth and feeling that now you get to expand upon, because you don't have to like think about it as hard as a GM. It's super forgiving for new players, which is wonderful because there's a lot of things that are super hardcore in the game if you want them to be. But they all start off at a base level. There doesn't need to be all of this like, okay, what do I do now and what's coming up next? It's written out for you really easily, and the GM guide and the stories spell out for you what you need to do, and then you get to be creative on top of that. So you'll just come up to a cliff, and then it's like, okay, how do you get over it? How do you want to jump over this cliff? But it's not like, okay, now go out into the wild, and create for yourself all of these situations and be funny, and be creative and be clever. It's like there's a framework there that you get to expand and be creative upon. And then, of course, we get to the last part, which is the stories and the guide for the GM. It really is. I hope that you like these stories. And somebody who's played RPGs a lot might think that the game is too simple, but I would argue that the game is written for everybody, which means that to get into it, it has a stronger framework. That there is more structure, there is more dialogue that we give you, but you don't have to use it. You can use what's there, or you could take the tutorial and throw it out and make your own game. We want you to do that. We want you to be able to expand on it, to modify it, to create whatever you want. We want you to think about the stories as Legos, and you can make it as packaged, or you could do whatever you want with it. And so it is an easier sort of game and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so that's the easy to learn part. It really is. I promise you, after reading a lot of tutorials, we have made it as easy to learn as possible with unlimited expansions. That's sort of the goal.
So, there's a lot, and that's what we're so excited. And we were like, okay, how do we talk about all this? Like, there's so much to cover in this. And there's just like two or three more things I want to share with you before we get to how you can get the game. But I wanted to switch over to this view so you're not looking at a PowerPoint the whole time. But just for a second to tell you that she mentioned something earlier that's really important about this, is that the customizability of this game, right, is that you can create as complicated or as simple of characters or story that you want. And it's really refreshing to be able to do that, to just jump in and do it. And you know, I'm looking forward to you guys, and the folks who've play tested this already have really shared their real positive experience. I know we've got some of them in here with us today who have shared their experiences with it. So all right, let me share with you just the last, we're going to just run through the last pieces here. When we were talking about the script, like here's some parts from our GM guide. You know, we have GM guides within the core rulebook, and then we have an expansion GM guide that's going to be coming out later as a separate thing. But you can see here that we have like the scripts written out. We have it all color coded, so you know when you're reading dialogue or when you're reading instruction. We've got tables within there. It's so easy to get through that you're going to, it's going to make, we take the hurdles out of storytelling. That was the whole point. Like, how do we make this easy for people to do? The lore itself, so the book has 65 pages alone of, and probably more. I think this, we've kind of stuffed a lot more in. We wanted the book to also be something for people to be able to learn the Flux Destiny universe and really immerse themselves in it. And there is so much lore in this that you're going to be reading the first part of the book as if it were you know, like a novel. It's not, and then you're going to stumble upon the mechanics and go, oh, right, I'm playing an RPG. So it's packed with that. And we're really proud of that. And that's what took so many years of development. So you can really learn about Flux Destiny through this particular, this book. This is the cool part. So we got trading cards, and I'm really excited about this. And this, this was actually, this is the first trading card you get when you buy the book and you complete it. At the end of it, you get these trading cards that have different, you know, bonuses that come with them. And this particular one, you can reduce your payback by 10 points once per game because you have completed your training in Karmistry. You have gone through your you know, the book, so you're ready to go. So this is the first one. And to those of you guys who are here on the live and that you registered, you are going to get a special gift that will be sent to your email for you registering. You're going to get your own card that is a special bonus card with its own stats that are going to come with it too. So we're really excited about it to share that with you. This, for those who were on the live the other day that I said I couldn't tell you what I was working on, this is the one that I was doing. So if you're new to the Flux Destiny universe, Hugo and Marco are the main characters from the mainline series. And I just thought it was appropriate to have them be on this card. Okay. Play with friends. So we have a whole system that we're about to launch where you can easily get into game nights. We put that together for you. So we help, you can get on with our lore leaders. We've divided them into two. There's like session 0 where everything gets set up, and then there's the actual game. And so there's an online system that we're going to launch soon that you'll be able to go schedule and see, hey, when game nights are happening. There's also a character portal that is coming up soon that we're working on, that the OC portal will capture all of your characters that you've created. It'll document all the stories that you've told. It'll help you catalog all your trading cards that you've earned in the game. I'm super excited about that. That's something that we've been putting a lot into this. So here's the deal. So now we get to the part where how we're going to get this core rule book into your hands. So the core rule book, you can get it in 3 different ways. First, let me explain that the core rule book, which is almost 300 pages, this is the public beta version. And what we're doing right now is we're collecting feedback on it. We've already did an internal test with it. We did internal play testing. We're going to get internal feedback on, and then external feedback from you guys who play it, who buy it and play it. And that's going to affect the final version of the game, which we are going to release in January, I believe, or early next year. That's going to be in its full full bound book and everything with all the illustrations complete in terms of like they're all rendered and colored and everything. The book is completely playable. It's all there. It's been edited. It's been laid out. It's all there ready for you. So you got three options, right? It depends on what you want to do. You can join our $10 tier on Patreon, and you'll receive the digital rule book and all the perks, which I'll let Ella talk about some of the perks that come with the game, but with being part of Patreon. We got NPC packs that you get for free monthly, map expansions. It's part of being part of our RPG community is that when you support us through Patreon, through that tier, we deliver to you what people normally would have to buy individually, which are these NPC packs and stories and things like that. So if you want to join Patreon, the Patreon perks, you go to patreon.com/fluxdestiny, and that's where you can just join the $10 tier, and it's all set up for you there. If you do, and that is not upgradable. So when you buy that version, you have to, if you just do the monthly one, it's not upgradable. So you have to wait until the book comes out, and you have to buy that separately. If you go to option 2 and you join our annual plan for Patreon at the $10 tier, you get all the perks from Patreon, plus you get the core rulebook, and it's upgradable, meaning that you will get for free the final version 1 when it comes out. And that for doing the annual version of the Patreon. Finally, if you just want to buy the book and you want to experiment with it and just say, hey, I'm not ready to fully commit yet, or Patreon's not your thing, or you don't want to go into the community aspect of it, you can absolutely go to Gumroad and buy it direct. You can just buy the PDF and the skill tree that comes with it. It's $15 on Patreon, on Gumroad. Go to fluxfantasyrpg.com. That's down there, and I'll let Ella put it in the chat below, both the links. But if you go to fluxfantasyrpg.com, it should take you straight to the Gumroad page where you can buy it. And it actually, when you buy it, you get the book, you get the skill tree, you get everything from there. And as part of this, Ella, do you want to talk about some of the benefits from Patreon?
Yeah, of course. So, Patreon is always sort of expanding. That's part of the joy of supporting a small indie company is that it's just Chris and I, and you're helping out. And so when you join Patreon, you get the benefits of the expansions and us doing things and putting them out right away. So anytime we get a character sheet upgrade, you get it right away. Anytime we have map expansions or NPC packs, which NPC packs, I actually think there's a slide for it, Chris. If you and if there's NPC packs, and in fact, there's also like recipe cards where we do like flavor of Flux Destiny. So there's more lore that's coming out and more content. And so the Patreon is really the place. If you really like Flux Fantasy, that's where you're going to go, because you really enjoy all of the lore that's going to come with it, and it's going to be endlessly expandable. We actually made the book at a lower price because we wanted you to be able to have all of the expansions. We wanted you to feel like you could go into Patreon and get all of the extra stuff like the maps and the NPC packs and the recipe cards, which we work so hard on, and all of these things that we're going to be pumping in specifically to the Patreon that later will come out, but they'll be more expensive and they'll be in a digital version. And so there's all of this stuff on top of the Patreon that you get if you are really a fan. And the NPC packs are kind of like those trading cards in which they're going to have buffs and things like that, in which you can use them in the game, or you can use the characters that we create. And in fact, I think what we're going to do as well is we're going to start putting out stories into the Patreon that connect with the Flux Fantasy characters, so you get deeper insight into them as well. So as you're playing, maybe you visit one of the characters in your story, but maybe you want to know more about them. Well, that's what we're providing in the Patreon, is we're sort of expanding the universe. And so if you want to get the game and you just want to go play it, obviously please go buy the book. But if you want more, you want to delve deeper into Flux Fantasy, and you want to help support us, please consider joining our Patreon. It's a really fun place. We're going to be going from like, 50 to 100. We've already pumped so much into it, but now we're going to pump even more into it. Like over the next couple of weeks, you're really going to be seeing an influx of rewards and things that we're doing, because we just really like to do it, and we love Flux Fantasy, and we like to pump things into it. And so we hope that, if you enjoy Flux Fantasy and want to know more, and maybe want some free stories and other stuff that's coming through, you'll be there first, and you'll get it first.
And that's, if you join the Patreon already, there's so much in there now. There's so much. You can see all the behind the scenes work, for example, that went behind the creation of Flux Fantasy. There's so much art, and we update weekly, multiple times a week. Everyone can tell you here, and we have multiple dedicated live streams to people. So we've created a whole experience around this, right? Like that's one of the things that that I wanted to do when I built this little studio and we started doing Flux Destiny. Is like, I want it to be an experience. I want everyone to come together, have a good time, that there is, there's a great vibe about it, and then you get to tell stories from someone whose career was built on storytelling. I have one of my biggest dreams was to be able to, I may have produced anime and movies and TV shows and things like that, but I just am like, finally had the opportunity to do this. It was my dream to do it. And I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. So so that's the Ella, I know we also want to talk about do you want to talk about the free story in Discord and all that stuff? Go for it.
Okay, guys, so we've come to the part where we just want to thank you. We hope that you go and look at our Patreon and consider the options, and we hope that you go buy the book. Even if you're a part of our Patreon and just want to support us, it's $15. We'd really appreciate it. And just so you guys know, you sort of have to be able to get the mechanics in order to go into the Discord. What we're going to do is we're going to be setting up these play nights, and you really have to have the book in order to do it, because all of the mechanics are in there, and the how to play is in there. So we really encourage you to go get it before we start doing these play nights. We're probably going to start them next week, and we want you to have read through the book and be prepared, because we're going to all jump in, both feet. And so we want you to be there, and we want you to be with us. So on top of that, we just wanted to say thank you for joining us tonight. So we're going to do two things. One, we are going to be sending out a trading card specifically to those of you who have registered. We're going to be sending it to your email sometime later this week to say thank you. And it's going to be actually playable within Flux Fantasy. And it's going to be really pretty. It's going to be just sort of like the card that you saw with Hugo and Marco. It's going to be really cute. And I love it. And I tear up thinking about it, actually, because it's just such a big deal. And secondly, we're going to put out a free mini game into our Discord specifically. So if you go to fluxfandom.com, in the Discord, we're going to be posting in the Flux Fantasy gameplay. We're going to be posting a little mini game, which if you have the mechanics, you could go play right away, whether it's by yourself or you go ahead and party up. And what it is it's like you get to go into a Flux Destiny and sort of train against these fake payback monsters. And it's sort of a tournament style in which you get to keep going and going and going until you basically run out of health. And then, you get kicked out of the Flux Destiny. So it's whoever basically gets to the top first. And so that's what we're going to be posting that later today. Or early tomorrow, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's just sort of a cute little way for you to test your powers, to test your characters, whether it's by yourself or with a group, before you get into the main stories, which, by the way, the beta book has a story in it. It has a free tutorial game that's fully written, fully ready for you to play. You could go play it right now. There's lots of stuff coming, so please consider buying it. And we will be posting that in the Discord later tonight, and we hope that you enjoy it, because it was a lot of fun to make.
It was a lot of fun. And I got to say that one of the best experiences of doing this, if I've got any like aspiring creators out there who's creating their own universes, the feeling of, when someone gets into your universe, what that feels like, and I have been so excited about the fandom that we've built here. I think our Discord has about 315 people in it right now. And we have crazy, activity around creating OCs all the time for this universe. And that was in just the public beta phase. That was before we even released the private beta phase. That was before we even released the core rulebook itself. So I love watching people create their characters and telling their own stories in this universe that I've created. And I'm just so excited to have all you guys. So I think, Ella, we have a little tiny short video to show you guys. It's like a 2-minute video of some clips of experiences. You can see me play testing this game. And then we've got some other experiences in here. So Ella, if you're ready for that, I'll show you. And I think that's, when we're done, I think that's pretty much it. So we'll show you guys that. We'll share with you one more time the links. Remember to join the Discord server. Fluxfantasyrpg.com is where you need to go. And Ella, I'm going to mute and I'm going to share this video now, and hopefully this works the same way that it's supposed to work. All right, here we go. Here's the video.
Like getting other people to like join this revolution, like we're part of history. We're making history tonight.
Janet's like, I am unsure about these rituals, but I am sure that your friend just died. And then you open your eyes and he didn't. And you're like, Janet's like, my mistake. He seems to be fine.
Natural 20.
Nice.
Oh wow!
Plus
Okay.
3, 23.
Ready?
So roll for agility for me.
Okay. Oh,
Oh no. Oh no, what'd you get? You get
I
a one?
literally got a 1. Oh,
No!
So with my agility is a 2, so that could not have been more. So I got
That
a 2.
was so good.
I'm sorry about the volume problem. I was so proud that we had finally gotten to that, and I had the button work. So I hope you guys were able to hear. But the first part, I don't know if you got to hear my my moments play testing the game, but it's been a lot of fun with it. And yeah, we'll post the trailer too on it. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight on this like super special night for us. Remember to go to fluxfantasyrpg.com to go buy the book if you want to buy it individually, or you can go to patreon.com/fluxdestiny and join the $10 tier, and you can get it there too. Ella, any final questions? Are we going to do anything before we close it? All right. Well, we've got so many videos that are we got a live stream, I think tomorrow, Ella. So we got live stream tomorrow. When's that?
I'm doing a special live stream in the Discord on how to create a character. So we will be sending out the new character sheets. If you are a part of our Flux Fantasy like email list, we'll be sending out the new character sheets, and then you can come join me in learning how to make a character if you're confused or you've got questions. I'll be doing that in the Discord at 4 Central. And then after that night, we have a mods live where our mods in the Discord server, they will be having a game night or they'll be doing something fun. And so that will be there. And then on Thursday, we have an exclusive Patreon live for our $10 tier, where we will be talking about Flux Fantasy, because they have already seen the beta book. And so they are, we'll be answering any of their questions. So join us before that day if you want to get all sort of the behind the scenes insight. And yeah, that's it.
Oh, wait. We forgot to talk about one last thing. Oh, sorry, I went blurry. Hold on. Let me get this thing to like, I put like, it'll get me in a second. I will not be blurry in a second. We are also doing this awesome new series. You want to tell them about the series that we're going to be doing on YouTube? Actually, that's super important.
Okay, so just for the people who are still here, this is like a super secret trailer thing that we're talking about. We are going to be putting out an official Flux Destiny playthrough where I'm going to GM and I'm going to have this story. If you've ever seen something like Dimension 20 or Critical Role, we're going to be doing a Flux Destiny version of that where we will be playing specific games and we'll be doing characters, and it's basically like you get to watch us play, and it'll be nicely edited. And I think Chris will be in the first one. We'll see if I can convince him to do it, but I'll be GMing, and it'll be a lot of fun, and there'll be stories that are not out yet. And in fact, that will be coming out pretty soon. We hope to get it done by August, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we hope that with your encouragement, buying the game and stuff, that we can continue to do that. So yeah, super secret. More info will come out very soon about that. We're doing so much with Flux Fantasy. Try to keep up with us, honestly, because we're doing so much. And we hope to see you in the Discord and here on our YouTube channel.
And for those of you guys who registered, you will be getting your special card by email by tomorrow. So you'll get a little card, get the special card that I promised that will be coming in. So you guys will get that. So we're really excited for that. Join the Discord if you haven't already. I want to thank all of you, especially if you're new, if you've come into my little universe here, and this is your first time. Welcome. There's so much to learn and to see and to read and experience here. We are so not cynical here. So this is a place that if you want to just you're looking for a better vibe, this is where you're going to find it. And I would love to see you on our lives. We also do main stage events on Discord monthly that you absolutely should join. And I've got some news about my book coming out soon that we'll be discussing soon as well. So that's it. Go get the book. We worked super hard on it. Let's get you guys playing. Come join us in the server. Let's start telling some awesome stories together, and bring your friends. Let's get your friends into this too. That's kind of the whole point. Ella, thank you for everything you've done. You've worked so hard on this. We've spent countless 15-hour nights doing this. And so, I really, really deeply appreciate this woman has been so helpful. Helpful is not even the right word. She built the mechanics, all the editing that you guys see on YouTube, all that stuff. I could not do this without her. And I just have to give her a big props for taking this universe I've built and finding a way to turn it into an RPG that people can enjoy. So thank you, Ella, very much. All right, everyone. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for joining. Good night.